After 5 days in the beautiful state of Alaska, more specifically up in Barrow, sadly the end was drawing near, and in this video, my friend Justin and I fly one last flight together on this Arctic adventure, a red-eye aboard American Airlines Dreamliner to Chicago. But something will be a little different about this night flight, so time to see what the 787's like on a 5.5-hour red-eye. Tonight's flight to Chicago is still a little ways away as we intentionally allowed some buffer time in case of delays, so in the meantime we're gonna head to a bar inside this airport called Silver Gulch to hang for a bit and grab some food. ANC is pretty much the gateway to the rest of this amazing state, and Alaska Airlines is at the center of that, contributing to almost 60% of the market share here and being the sole occupant inside Concourse C, the one I'm currently walking in. One thing this airport gets perfectly right is the decor. It doesn't just look like any old terminal building, you can tell you're in Alaska. Now, every time I pass through Anchorage Airport, I always head to Silver Gulch and get their cheesy beer soup, which comes with a warm pretzel. I've never really found anything else like this in the lower 48, so I do make it a habit to get this here every time, and it's delicious. Since we still had quite a bit of time to kill, our flight being at 11:15 p.m. and Concourse C having a nice upstairs quiet area, we made the decision to just stay over here for a while by the bar. Now that some time has passed, we are now meandering our way to the gate this evening, located in ANC's Concourse B, where most of the other airlines here operate from. It's not as lavish as Alaska's Concourse, and in the summer when airlines use big wide bodies here, this terminal can and does get very crowded. Our gate tonight is B9 down at the end, which also just so happens to be American's only gate in Anchorage. So even though our plane just landed out ahead, it's gonna have to wait for a bit as there's a mightily delayed DFW flight currently at the gate.
There's an American flight going to Dallas. It's right before our flight to Chicago. I think it just got canceled or something because the whole flight crew just walked off. And now there's a bunch of people rebooking on our flight. I hope our flight goes off.
Eventually, they had to just push the empty plane back to let ours come in and avoid having 2 delayed Dreamliner flights. The problem with that flight being cancelled though, or indefinitely delayed, is like I said, lots of those passengers started rebooking onto our flight, which was not gonna be full, but hey, I still might be in luck, we shall see. An 837AN will be the ride tonight, an August 2018 built Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner, which means at the time of filming it wasn't even 3 years old yet. Definitely is always a big treat getting to fly a wide body domestically for the comfort, and thankfully I was able to snag a main cabin extra seat on board today, which means more space for me. Let's board.
Thank you. Hello.
Where's your seat today?
14A.
14A, first aisle. Welcome.
Since this is a wide body frequently used on long international routes, there are actually 4 classes on board today. Business class up front, which consists of 30 lie-flat seats, then a small 21-seat premium economy section, followed by main cabin extra with 36 seats, and finally economy class or main cabin consisting of 198 seats, coming to 285 in total on this 787. There are 3 rows of main cabin extra. I will be in the last of those in seat 14A. Now, I call this section a separate class, but obviously the only thing different is additional legroom versus economy. The seat itself is exactly the same, besides a solid red trim around the adjustable headrests. Armrests on the Dreamliner are actually okay with a recline button and the ability to fold all the way up. Legroom up here is naturally very good and noticeably better than their 737 main cabin extra seats. In the pocket in front is the safety card along with the American Way magazine, which I do have to mention was retired the month this was shot. And pocket space is pretty good. Moving upward is of course the tray table, and then a remote for the PTV up top, which can be taken out like so. Next to that is a universal power outlet. A USB port can be found below the monitor, along with the headphone jack, and while the PTV is immovable, it is decently sized. Seat comfiness is honestly quite good, especially compared to their narrow-body planes. Windows are controlled by these dimming buttons, and they are all very large, so no hunching on this aircraft.
Hello everyone, thank you for your attention. It's time to be ready for takeoff.
Wow, I can't believe it! On a plane that's completely full, I got the only empty row. Let's go! To Chicago. Honestly, I still have no idea how I got so lucky. But anyway, I'd like to point out to American right now how many people are using their screens. They're almost all on. FAs did pass through the cabin after takeoff here with free earplugs for anyone, but I would highly recommend bringing your own pair as they suck pretty bad. Another benefit of flying a red-eye on a wide-body, bigger bathrooms, with some slightly upgraded utilities inside here such as a larger sink, and not one, but two coat hooks. Back at my seat, I noticed the flight attendants about to come through with a snack and drink service before bedtime. The tray tables on board this Dreamliner have the ability to fold halfway or the full way, which is a nice added touch.
Can I have hot tea?
Cream and sugar?
Yeah.
If hot tea is not to your liking, a full drink menu can be found on the PTV in front. Like most airlines now, American has brought back their entire drink selection from the COVID times, which includes numerous sodas and juices along with hot coffee, and for purchase, alcohol. With the drink, FAs also handed out either pretzels or Biscoff cookies, and with a cup of hot tea, of course, I'd choose the cookies. Our cruising altitude tonight would be 39,000 feet on the 5-hour, 29-minute ride to O'Hare. And here's where things get a little different from a normal red-eye. Because it's currently summer, meaning the days are longer the further north you go, this entire flight will basically hug the sun line as the Earth spins around, so it will never get completely dark all the way to Chicago. We'll pretty much have like a morphed sunrise sunset sky for most of the flight. Okay, at this point, you may or may not be wondering, wait a minute, Chris, aren't you traveling with someone? Well, yes I am. He's in the back. Next thing you might be wondering, did you offer for him to come up here? Well, yes I did. In fact, there were at least 4 people throughout the flight, either sitting around me or walking by, asking if they could sit in my row, including a flight attendant before we took off. I said to her my friend might come up. She went back to talk with Justin, and he said he'll come up after takeoff. And, well, me lying down across 3 seats tells you what happened with that. So, not gonna let this lie flat bed go to waste. Time to get some shut-eye. After about a solid 2 hours of something resembling sleep, we were over the state of Wisconsin with the sun back above the horizon in full glare, making the dim cabin not so dim anymore. Before we start our final descent, I believe I need to show you guys what American's PTV offers on this 787-9, starting with the flight maps. Unlike their narrow bodies, which don't offer any maps, the Dreamliner has 6 different ones, controlled from this sidebar. On the main menu is where everything else can be found, including ebooks, movies, TV shows, the menu I showed earlier, a chat feature allowing passengers to text each other in different seats, games, and finally audio such as music playlists. Since this is a plane meant for international routes, the stockpile is quite massive, and I think I'd be perfectly satisfied with the content offered on a 10-hour flight. Taking one last stroll through the cabin, it became pretty clear to me I had it a little too good on this flight, just glancing at the gestures of everyone else, and that I really do dig this American 787 interior. The mood lighting and cabin space gives it such a modern and fresh look, even with AA's generic seats. Also, a small detail, but an important one, I really appreciate the additional monitors on the bulkheads, as I can watch a movie in front of me and always know where I am in the world just by looking up ahead. At the time, the American Way was still a thing, with their destination maps, hub airport diagrams, fleet list, and travel articles being inside. AA decided to remove it in 2021, with this issue being the last one, so take a good look at it. Before we knew it, the landing sequence had started, Chicago's robust skyline would appear in the morning haze, and this amazing trip would take another step towards its conclusion. Okay, so my thoughts on the flight? Obviously, as far as comfort is concerned, I was more than happy with my situation. I got a whole row to myself in main cabin extra, and since this was a red-eye, basically had a bed to sleep on. If there were 2 people next to me, I still think it would have been a nice flight because of the legroom. If you are a taller person like myself, upgrading to up here will certainly help out a lot, as American's economy legroom is quite bad, although the Dreamliner is a little bit better. Besides one FA questioning my GoPro usage, the crew on board today were honestly pretty nice and above average for AA standards. American's 787 hard product is okay. There's nothing special about it, and I've yet to fly them long haul, believe it or not, so maybe for even longer flights it can get rough. But do speak out if you've flown this aircraft internationally, and let me know what you thought about it below. As far as this flight is concerned, I quite enjoyed it, especially the first hour or so flying over Alaska's and Canada's snow-capped mountains. But yeah, that would be it for Alaska, back in the lower 48.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sadly, just one more leg on this trip of a lifetime, and it will be done in one of the worst planes in American's fleet. So that's what you guys have to look forward to in the next video. Thank you guys for watching this Dreamliner red-eye flight from Alaska to Chicago. I really hope you enjoyed, and catch you on the next one.